Listen, I know I'm late, alright? It's midterms week. What do you want me to do, alright? I should be on spring break right now, but you know, I plan on being stressed out until, like, May, so, just get off my back, okay? So, Zenkaiger. This looks like a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. Off rip, I'm in love with Zenkaiger's suit, and I feel like most people dig it, to be honest with you. I get that it's like a little over the top, but I love the Aka Ranger meets Big One aesthetic that this thing is going for, and the cape plus a little head crest really just make it for me. The Kikinois, on the other hand, alright, just listen. I'm the first mother effer on the block to glorify the blocky little mother effers from the Metal Hero series in, like, the late 90s. Clearly. But, like, that's not a lion. You can't convince me otherwise. Like, you can't convince me that's supposed to be a lion. Why is this guy's head still showing? Does she have hair? And this guy... He's fine, actually. He's cool. I actually really like him. They just don't do it for me, personally. I think they just look really bad. Like, I get what they're going for. You really don't have to explain it to me. We all get that this is supposed to be, like, Daijujin's head or whatever. But I really don't care. It just doesn't do anything for me. But with that in mind, I'd like to propose a theory. So, if you notice, each of the Kikinoids are based on a Sentai mech, right? That's obvious. Why am I saying that? But what you might not notice is that each of the colors of these guys correlates to the head of that mecha. Like how the T-Rex makes up the head for Daijujin, or how the Gal Eagle makes up the head for Gal King. And I purposefully haven't mentioned this on Twitter because I want video evidence of the fact that I am the first person in the Tokusatsu community to propose head theory. That's not a good name. If we do get another Kikinoid, it would have to be A, a color that we don't already have, and B, based on a mecha whose head is that color. Some examples would be a green Kikinoid that has the head of Victory Robo from Go-Go 5, or the head of the Kira Major mecha. Or we could also get a black Kikinoid who has, like, the head of Mega Voyager. These are just some examples, and I'm telling you that I have full confidence in head theory. If there is another Kikinoid in quarter 1 or quarter 2, I promise you that if they are not the examples that I just mentioned, they will line up with the formula that I have outlined for the theory. I pinky promise you. And if they don't, I don't know, I was wrong. So, with that being said, I do like their civilian modes quite a bit. I like how their outfits reference the civilian outfits of the Sentai that they're from. And they're also not incredibly bulky like the suits that they have on after they morph. But it's weird how they don't have human forms. Which brings me to my next theory. So as we know, Toei was forced to take a break from filming Superhero Time around April of last year for obvious reasons. And now I understand that Saber does have a lot of riders, but Saber was also probably planned a while ago. And also, the thing about Kamen Rider is that as long as you still have, like, the main rider, the show can still go on, because it's only reliant on that one character. As long as Saber himself is fine, the show is fine. But I still do theorize that next year's Kamen Rider is going to consist of, like, 1, maybe 2 riders max, kind of like Fourze or, like, Wizard back in the day. The point is that you can't really have a Super Sentai series without a Super Sentai team. So my theory is that in order to create a show that is both COVID safe and free from this restriction of having a large cast. The writers just decided to put the entire team in masks. They literally put them in face masks. That way, not only are they in masks and stuff, but you also don't necessarily need the same guy to be in the Zenkai Juren suit throughout the entire series. While it's a nice idea, you can swap out the actors depending on availability and stuff like that. It's a lot more freeing in that regard. But that's just a theory. What? So the show opens with the crispiest Go Ranger footage that I've ever seen, where we see a sequence consisting of the first Sentai, the last Sentai, and Zyuranger getting sucked into like these portals. You ain't slick, Toei, alright? I know you wanted my American ass to jump and clap showing Jason on screen like this. Well, I ain't doing it, alright? It was cool to see though. Anyways, they confirmed that this exists in a world where other Sentai don't exist in the same world, and that may sound like a complex sentence, but this is something that really annoys me about Sentai and Kamen Rider to an extent, is that all of the Sentai teams both exist and don't exist in the same universe, depending on whether or not it's convenient for that series. For instance, in Gokaiger, every Sentai existed, but in Q-Ranger, every Sentai didn't exist beforehand, except for Q-Ranger, which was in its own little pocket dimension, which was separate from another dimension that contained every other Sentai. And now, all the Sentais in Zenkaiger are in their own pocket dimensions, and it's just... We're introduced to our main character, Kaito, and he really wants to be the first person in the world to do something amazing. Notice that he says the world, as in this world, as in he wants to be the only Sentai character in this world. Which is a neat little thing for character motivation. I'm interested in seeing where that goes, I guess. Even though they kind of are going to resolve it in the first episode by making him the first Sentai character in this world. Whatever. A dark cloud washes over the city, causing a bunch of robots to start showing up, and then it cuts to the intro, and it's actually pretty good, I'm not gonna lie to you. They have an intro dance this time rather than having an outro dance like they normally do, and I actually quite enjoy it. It's really cool. It cuts to 1 month later where the robots are fully integrated in society, and I'm surprised we haven't enslaved them yet. Not saying that I want that, to be honest. It just seems like something humans would do if a foreign species were to just show up. It's just like human nature, you know, it's really messed up. I don't know what to tell you. It turns out that Homeboy's parents discovered the existence of parallel worlds like a while ago, and I guess that's why they have this robot bird thing. I also really like how all the main Kikinoids have cameos throughout the episode, even if it primarily focuses on Juren and Zenkaiger, obviously. It turns out that the main bad guys of the season are trying to suck up all of these different worlds that contain Sentai and stuff, and this is like the last one that they need to do, and they conveniently can't do it, even though it's the last one, because we need a plot. The evil Kikinoids start attacking both humans and the good Kikinoids alike, and Homeboy wakes up his bird friend for the first time, and I swear to God he makes the same noises as Navi. I'm not kidding. These are the same noises. I can't play them for obvious reasons, but it's the same noise, dude. It's weird. He escorts him and his grandmother to his parents' secret lab where they find out that they also created a Sentai team. He leaves to go help out the city, and he runs into Juren, who's attempting to save a little boy on his own from the bad Kikinoids, and in response to his kindness, Kaito gives him a henshin device, and I really like this scene where Juren interrupts the bad guy during his monologue dialogue and where like Kaito explains the whole henshin in like a whisper. It's really self-aware and really funny. Anyways, they do the damn thing, and I love the score of the henshin sequence and the roll call. The trumpets feel incredibly Showa inspired, and it's great. I also really like how they're only focusing on the two of them for this first episode. It helps make the first episode feel not as rushed like most other Sentai pilots tend to be. I also really like how the Sentai gears work. Of the two that they showed, they do a good job at displaying how unique each of the teams are, rather than just like summoning like a costume beside them or like doing a costume change themselves. It's interesting, like they integrated it into the choreography in a way that makes it feel very much like, okay, yeah, that is the Zyuohger gear, because, you know, Juo Eagle had the wings, and, you know, the ninja thing would give him like ninja speed and stuff. It's interesting, and I'm interested to see how they incorporate that later on with like different ones, like maybe the Kyoryuger one helps them dance somehow or something, and like maybe the Gokaiger one actually has them change into the Gokaigers. That'd be kind of neat, right? They have a scene where we have both a mecha battle and a ground fight happening at the same time, which is something I really like. I always enjoy when Sentai does this. It's kind of rare, but we did get it in like Go Busters and Kira Major, and I really liked it there too, and they did it really well in this first episode. The episode ends with them destroying the monster and actually queuing up for the gimmick of next week's monster sort of thing. You know how like they do like those little plots of like everyone's asleep or everyone's swapping bodies. Next week it's like everyone has mushrooms on their head, which is cool because normally it's just like a one and done thing. Like you're only focused on that monster, and then next week's monster, you know, you don't think about it until next week. But I like how they queue it up for next week, because it kind of adds a layer of like continuity, and it makes me want to watch more. It's simple, but it does make me want to watch the next episode, because now I'm like a little bit invested, a little bit more invested than I would have been otherwise. You know what I mean? Overall, I would have to say that this is one of the better Sentai pilots, to be honest with you. Only focusing on the two characters really helps with the pacing of this episode. It allows for a relatively satisfying explanation for like how everything works and how the powers came to be and stuff, while also like displaying the main character traits of the team members in one episode, which is something that Sentai typically struggles with balancing in first episodes. You either get a really good explanation for the powers, or you get a really good sort of focus on the characters. But this episode, because there are only two characters, it does a really good job at like doing both, and it's great for that. It's one of the better ones because it does both, you know what I mean? And it also does all of that while having these funny self-aware moments, and while also having this like subtle foreshadowing to like who the other characters are going to be and like stuff like that. And it's overall just really well done. Obviously, I'm going to probably keep watching this because it's the new Sentai. You kind of have to. It's also just a very unique Sentai, for sure. I'm excited to see what they try and do here. I'm excited to see what the 6th Ranger is going to be like. Is it going to be another human, another Kikanoid? Is it going to be a combination of both somehow? I'm just really excited for the potential that's here. Overall, I really hope to see you in my next video. So yeah. Bye-bye!